y'all, today is a beautiful day. It's an auspicious day because we have the resurrection, the reigniting, the return of Wyatt's Words of Wisdom. The best and most vetted advice on YouTube. Not actually, but really, we're going to be serious here. We have a serious topic suggested by Mr. Hunter Jones. Today we are going to be talking about what it's like to have a roommate. We're going to be giving some roommate advice. So I have a roommate. His name is Will. He's a guy. He exists. Will, say hi to the camera.
Hi, camera.
Okay, you can go now. I love him. He's an adorable boy. And so me and Will, we're totally different people. Okay, I am a complete degenerate, and Will is a beautiful, muscular, cool boy. He's a really awesome person. Quiet, reserved, mild-mannered, totally unlike myself. So how do we get along? Alright, so if you haven't seen my episode on intimate relationships, honestly, like, all relationships are the same. You know, there's actually fundamentally not that much of a difference between, like, you know, being in a lover's relationship or a sibling's relationship or a friend relationship or a roommate relationship. Pretty much all relationships require the two same key components in order to work. And those components are respect and communication. Alright, people. So this is part of my room, okay? This right here, this is my stuff. And starting on this side, we have my roommate's stuff. Now, in order to film all these videos, I use both of these dressers. But you may note that one is mine and one is his. Obviously, as I do not imbibe coffee or do any weird air filter, whatever that thing is. So this right here is what it looks like when I'm set up to film. Obviously, the camera goes there because, you know, it goes there, and I'm holding it. So I have to use Will's stuff. I have to move his stuff in order to make these videos. Now, in order to do this, I have two options. I could just wait until he leaves and then just move it all and do it without his consent, or I could tell him and I could ask. Now, you could argue that these two options lead to the same result, but there's a very important difference. One of them involves me having respect and communication, and the other doesn't. Now listen, almost never in any of these videos will I attempt to appeal to you on some sort of moral level, okay? You do not keep your roommate happy because, like, you want them to be happy or, like, you're a nice person or out of some sort of, like, you know, duty to, like, their well-being. No. You keep your roommate happy because it makes your life objectively better in so many ways. Trust me. Listen, when a lot of you kids go off to college or, like, you know, move out, being roommates with someone is a totally different relationship from any other relationship you ever had, okay? Because in order to be roommates with somebody, you know, you basically have to share your space with them. And that can be pretty difficult, especially like in a crowded dorm room. Basically, you have to have a relationship with somebody where, like, you can be around them almost all the time and then not want to murder them. And them not want to murder you. I mean, I love my friends. I love some of my friends. But I feel like spending 5 days together talking to each other constantly, I'm just like, I just want you to go away. Alright? Roommates, you're always going to see them. So there's a lot of different ways that, you know, you can end up being roommates with somebody. Probably the ideal way is that you're friends with somebody and you guys room together and it turns out great. Now note, being somebody's friend does not mean that, like, y'all are gonna be good roommates. In fact, many friendships in college end because you think that rooming together is gonna work, and it doesn't. Why? Well, biorhythms, right? Like, you know, you're doing certain things at certain times, and your friend likes to do other things at other times, and that clashes, and gears start grinding, and people, you know, next thing you know, you're dunking their head in the toilet and chopping them up, and you... Anyway, the point being that it's much more important to have a roommate that, like, you share a lifestyle with than, like, one that you really like. Here's the thing that I'm going to get across in this video. You don't have to be, like, super buds with your roommate. The goal here is not to, like, have a best friend that's going to last you forever. If that happens, power to you. The goal here is to, like, survive, right? To get through this experience unscathed, which is not something that everybody does. So, at the absolute, like, best possible scenario, we have two really great friends who both understand each other and are going to be good roommates. Now, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have two complete and total strangers who have completely different lifestyles that are going to clash horribly. Alright? And that's where we can run into issues. Now, the secret to any relationship is communication. Your roommate cannot do what you want unless you tell them what you want, unless you communicate to them your intentions. Alright? And they should not expect you to do anything that they haven't properly communicated to you. So, here's what you do. First thing, and a lot of, like, colleges will force you to do this, you need to set ground rules, okay? Maybe, like, the second day you guys are together, y'all need to, like, split up what spaces is whose. Y'all need to coordinate, like, you know, hey man, I'll bring a fridge, you bring a microwave, alright? That works really well, okay? In fact, one way to kind of bond with your roommate is to share stuff. You know, he brings a TV, you bring a couch, you know. There's stuff with each other that y'all share. Now, as we'll talk about later, there does need to be things that your roommate is not in, and there needs to be stuff with your roommate that you're not in. Because, you know, personal space, personal stuff, personal boundaries. But by sharing certain things, creating a communal space, that can help ease the tension a little bit. So basically, your first week with your roommate is going to set the tone for all of the rest. And the more stuff that you get nailed down then, that is going to determine, like, pretty much how good your relationship is for, like, the rest of the year or the month or how long you end up spending together. Alright, number one thing. Whose stuff is whose. Alright? Divvy up space, divvy up the desks, the wardrobes, put all your stuff together. Should be pretty easy. Most rooms built for roommates are built with doubles of everything, so, you know, finding out whose space is whose, not that difficult. Alright, number two. When do we sleep? Alright, when do we have the lights on? What noises are we going to be making? Do you want to study in your room? When do you want it quiet? When do you not? And, you know, maybe wait until you get into the school year and you start finding out what your study schedule is going to be. Like, you know, I generally like to leave to go study, so that's no problem. But if you like to study in your room, you need to tell your roommate, hey, don't be blasting trap rap between the hours of 7 and 9. And your roommate can respect that. And listen, there's going to be a lot of things you're not going to think about. A lot of noise can come from different places. And trust me, nothing shatters a roommate relationship like messing with people's sleep. Like, ladies, you know, if one of y'all wakes up before another, when her hair dryer is going to be on? Gentlemen, when are, like, electronic shavers going to be on? When are you going to be playing the TV? If y'all, you know, me and my roommate, we have, like, a perfect setup, okay? I am at my desk, he is at his, we're in front of our laptops, we're on our earbuds, we're both hooked up to our individual screens, engrossed in our own worlds like civilized human beings. But, you know, maybe your roommate spends a lot of time on the couch playing video games and you hear that. Alright, you need to communicate whether that's okay or not, or, like, when that's appropriate. Alright, get your schedules, get when you need to wake up, and, like, you know, say, hey, maybe we have, like, the noise on till midnight on one night, or till 10 on another night. Or, you know, weekends, go nuts. Remember, you don't have to be friends with this person. You just have to live with them. You have to exist with them. Alright? Like, and listen, guys, go into detail. Alright? Is it okay to pee in the sink? Is it, like, you know, is it okay to walk around in your underwear? Alright, you know, maybe tell them that you don't want to see their laundry piled up. You know, talk about when we're taking out the trash. Cover everything. Because the more detail y'all go into, the better it's going to turn out. Now, let's go into some more specialized situations. Now, here's the roommate cycle. Okay, you meet your roommate, and hopefully, if y'all are two nice guys, you're probably gonna hit it off pretty fast. Alright? You'll start doing things together, maybe take a few meals together, but quickly, they'll go off to their friends, you'll go off to your friends, you don't spend that much time together. Talk to your roommate in your room, don't bug them, but have a rapport with them, get to know them, maybe get to know the things that they like to talk about, the things they don't like to talk about, okay? So hopefully your first initial meeting is going to be pretty good. After that, in the next few weeks, that's when you'll start to, realize the more annoying elements of your roommate. Like, maybe they snore a lot, or, their TV's a little too loud, or, maybe they talk on the phone obnoxiously. And some of those things are things you just get used to. Some of those things you're going to need to address, and some of those things are, well, bad. Like, what if you're like me, and your first year roommate, not Will, the guy I had last year, what if you find a guy who really likes to smoke weed? And if you are a guy who's going to be doing anything like that, please just tell you, again, whatever you're going to be doing in your room, tell your roommate about it so you can address it. And boundaries need to be set. Is there going to be alcohol in this room? Are there going to be drugs in this room? What are you comfortable with, not telling people about? This needs to be made clear, and your roommate needs to respect your decisions. And hey, listen, this is college. If you want to party in your room, that's fine. But ask your roommate about it. And if you can get them in on the party, that's, probably going to make it even funner. But sometimes, there are times where you want to be in the room, and you don't want your roommate to be in the room. Maybe when you're, having some time with a person that, you want to be getting up some things with. You know what I'm talking about. When y'all smashing, slamming hams, pounding it, riding bareback, getting that meat injection, Netflix and chill, going hard on the bars, reaching a mutual state of deep rapport, and, having sex. So listen, no judgment to you whether or not you do that. I don't. Last year I had a roommate who did, and he was actually pretty good about it, alright? Listen, here's the thing, especially when you're doing that on any communal space. And just a good rule in general, especially when you're starting out, if you bang on it, wash it. Especially if it's like a communal thing. That's just a ground rule, okay? If fluids get on it, if activity take place on it, wash it, alright? That's just a good, rule, alright? When you're living in a communal space. Okay? Secondly, your roommate will probably be totally fine with you doing that, especially if you're doing it, in your area. Alright? Just tell them, hey man, you give me 2 hours, here and there. Oh yeah, fine. Alright? Communicate, shoot a text. Maybe if things, come naturally and, you didn't plan for this, like, hey man, I really need you to be out, yada yada. And, give and pull, maybe you don't have sex, but you want to have some buddies over one night to watch a movie. The same rule actually applies. Just say, alright, tell your roommate whether or not you're comfortable if their partner's going to be staying the night or something. Alright? All of this is about communication. And, just on a side note, don't smoke weed in your dorm. People gonna find out. Just do not. It's a bad idea. And also, remember, no matter what kind of schedule your roommate has, they can walk into the room at any time. So whatever you're doing in that room, always assume that your roommate could walk in at any time. So yeah, let's review. For the men and the women. Say whose stuff is whose. Say what area is whose. What can we share? What's off limits? What times are we going to be asleep? What times are we going to be studying? What's the noise and the light situation going to be? Sleep schedules. Whether or not we want to have open food. If we can share food. Maybe y'all don't have a meal plan. Y'all going to cook. All right. But that's really great to coordinate. That can really bring people together. When we're going to have visitors, when that's appropriate. Obviously, things are going to get more, tight around midterms or exam schedules, when we are going to be using extracurricular substances, whether or not your roommate is comfortable with that, and when we're going to be doing the dirty with people who we're going to be bringing over, and whether or not that's even ever going to be a factor. Now, finally, let's talk about what if you've been roommating someone for a few months, and there's like a new development, or there's a thing that like you need to talk to them about, that like, things are, like something's gone wrong and you need to address it. Alright? Something that either you didn't think of at the beginning of the year or wasn't a problem then, but it has become a problem. First, be respectful, be nice, and hit them when they're on like a good time, in a good mood. Don't talk to them late at night or early in the morning. Say, hey man, I really wish you'd stop eating crayons. It really freaks me out. And if you ask a bunch of times, you're respectful and nice, and maybe explain to them why you, because some of them might seem second nature to you. Like, maybe you've been eating crayons since you're 5. Doesn't realize that your roommate gets really freaked out when you eating crayons. Alright? Tell them, explain and say, hey, maybe I'll only eat crayons when you're gone. Or like, okay, I can go cold turkey on the crayons, that's not a problem. Now, if you're in the dorms and this, gets out of hand, eventually you can bring in your RA. Do that. Guys, do not suffer in silence. Alright? Do not just, have a situation going on for months and weeks and, all year and don't address it. Because there are so many people that, you hear horror stories about terrible, terrible roommates, okay? But those horror stories only make up 0.01% of all roommates, alright? So probably, you'll get into a situation where your roommate is doing something that annoys you, but because it's not that bad, you sort of let them off the hook. You're like, well, it's not that bad, or you think of all the different ways that it could be worse. And you're right, it could be worse. However, it can also be a jack ton better. Alright? And you shouldn't let, the fact that things haven't gone completely wrong stop you from, just objectively improving your standards of living by addressing a problem. And listen, people, especially if you're not that big into romantic relationships, if you can't, keep up a roommate relationship, when that romantic relationship gets deeper, y'all start living together, you guys are going to face a lot of the same issues. And you're going to have to learn to work that out. So remember, communication, boundaries, and if necessary, some chloroform and fluoric acid. But hopefully it won't come to that. Remember, think of everything, be candid, don't hold anything back, don't be embarrassed by anything. Just address all of it, get it out, and that's that. Well, that went down pretty well, if I do say so myself. I have been Wyatt the Word Weaver. This has been Wyatt's Words of Wisdom. It's been a while since I've done any of those. Some of you might have forgotten about it. So please, in the comments, add any topics that you want me to address. They can be super serious or, just random stuff. I know about almost everything, and I'm willing to learn and research almost anything in order to teach it to you. And maybe, before you ask, check the playlist of previous episodes, see the things I've covered. Done tons of fun topics, tons of stupid topics, tons of really interesting topics. Very useful stuff down there. Like, subscribe, follow on Twitter, all the good stuff. You know all that. Y'all know the drill by now. I'm Wyatt the Word Weaver, and I'm going to get to work on the next video. See you then.